Welcome to this introduction to constructive alignment. Constructive alignment is a principle used to purposefully design our courses and plan learning experiences. It helps us as educators avoid the common mistake and tendency of starting out our course design with the question, what content will I teach? And instead focus on this question, what will students learn to do? Now, this might seem subtle at first, but applying the principle of constructive alignment leads us to design our course and learning experiences in fundamentally different and purposeful ways. Let's look at the three elements of constructive alignment and how to apply them in course design. I use a bridge as an analogy to describe the process of designing a course using the principles of constructive alignment. At the beginning, so when I'm planning a new course or I'm adjusting a course I have taught or will teach, I imagine I am standing here. That's me, planning my course. And the very first thing I need to know is, what are my outcomes? These are statements that describe what a student will learn to do during this course. Outcomes start with an active verb, then connect to the key content we want our students to learn. Outcomes give my course definition and shape. They provide boundaries about what I have to have in my course and what I can exclude. I think of my outcomes as this post here. They act as a decision filter or gatekeeper of what gets to pass through to create my course. Outcomes ensure that everything in the course is focused purposefully on what students need to learn to do. So once I have clear outcomes, the immediate next thing that I do is I look to the end of my course and I ask myself, given these outcomes, what will I accept as evidence that students have learned well enough? Basically, I plan my course with the end in mind and design the course assessments, ensuring that they all align directly back to the outcome. There are two questions I consider here. First, what evidence do I expect students will produce that will give them an opportunity to demonstrate their learning and progress in meeting the course outcomes? And secondly, I ask myself, what is well enough, or what is good evidence? At this point, I consider factors that impact good, including things like course level or other criteria in my context that impact good for this level of learner. A rubric is really helpful here in clarifying for students what good evidence looks like. I think of this last post over here at the end of my course as the assessment gatekeeper. It filters for good evidence that students have learned the course outcomes. So once I've defined my outcomes and my assessment, then I get to fill in the slats of my bridge and make a pathway of learning experiences. Now, I do this by selecting and utilizing teaching methods that are effective in helping students demonstrate the learning outcome and provide for things like practice, feedback, and reflection. It's at this point here that I think about content finally and ensure that content is current, accurate, relevant to the course outcomes. It's representative of the knowledge and skills being taught, and it's appropriate to the position of the learning experience within my course. In short, constructive alignment is a design process of starting with the outcomes, what we want students to learn to do during the course, determining what we will accept as evidence that students have learned well enough, and then purposefully planning instruction and learning experiences that facilitate the learning required for students to walk across the bridge of our course. And all of these elements are aligned with each other. So why do we use constructive alignment? It's because we want the time we spend teaching and the time our students spend learning to be likely to result in the outcomes we declared for our courses. We align because it's important that student grades reflect how successfully they demonstrated the outcomes. And finally, taking the time to align demonstrates a commitment to the value of what your course contributes, both to your discipline and your students.